Welcome to the next episode of Python for Bioengineering. And today we're going to be talking about lists. So just as a reminder, I wanted to go over some of the different data types that you can have in Python. So you can have an integer, which is just like a number, like 45, a string, which can be either words, letters, or a character. And then a double, which is like an integer. It can be a decimal or a fraction or any number. And then a Boolean or bool value, which can either be true or false. So with these are different types of data that you can have in Python, but there's something called a data structure that allows you to store multiple pieces of data. And so the first one we're going to be going over is lists. So the way that you create a list is with these brackets here. So here we have created a list of integers with 1, 2, 3, and 4. But you can also do this with other types of data like strings or Boolean values. So if we run this, you can see we now have these different lists. And not only can you make a list of different types of data, but you can mix and match and make a list that has a bunch of different types of information in it. So these are a really powerful tool for storing a lot of data. However, you can also do some pretty cool things with lists. So the first of these is indexing. So indexing is a way to kind of access individual points within a list. So say here we have that integer list, and the way that you index into it is by adding brackets after it, and then the index or the kind of place in the list of the value that you want to get. So here we're saying, let's get the first value, but that's not right. So if you put 1 in as the index, it's going to get the second value in the list, which you can see here is 2. And that's because Python uses zero-based indexing. So if you really want to get the first value, you need to use 0 as your starting index. So with a list, not only can you pick out individual pieces of data, but you can also grab subsets of a list and take out a new list. So this is called slicing. And the way that you do this is with the starting value, which is inclusive, and then the second value, which is exclusive. So if we run this, you see we only get 2 values, and that's because it's taking the value at index 0, which is 1, the value at index 1, which is 2, and then it sees that this is 2 here and it's exclusive, so it's taking no more indices above that. So it goes 1 or 0, 1, and then any stops at 2. And the way that you do this is with this colon here, and this colon can also be used to kind of mean everything else. So here we have 3 different uses of it. And so if you put a colon first and then the exclusive index, it will take everything up to 3, the number at position 3. Or if you put 1 at the start, it will take the number at position 1 and everything after that. And if you just use a colon, it will take all of the entire list. So you can see that here. It's everything up to the thing at index 3. So it's the value index 0, 1, and 2, which is 1, 2, 3. And then 1 after. So it takes the value, not the value at index 0, but the value at index 1, 2, and 3. And then it takes all the values with just a colon. So beyond indexing and slicing, there are a couple different methods that we can use to manipulate and learn about lists. So the first of these is going to be the len function, which is really the length. So you access it just by calling len, and then in parentheses, you place your list. And what that's going to return to you is the number of elements in that list. So if we go here, we see that the length of the list is 4. So there are 4 elements in the list. The next function is called append. And so what this does is it basically adds on whatever value you put inside the parentheses here to the end of the list. So you make your list, you call .append on your list, put in the value, and then when you run that, you can see 5 now gets added to the end of the list. The next function is insert, or function or method is insert. What this does is it takes in 2 parameters into the function. So you make your list, and then on your int list, you call .insert. you give it the index that you want to insert it into, and then the value. So here it's going to put 16 into index 1, which is the second position in the list. And as you can see, now we have 1, 16, 2, 3, 4. And then the last function that I wanted to go over was remove. And so what this does is it takes out an item anywhere in the list. And if you look at the list here, you can see it's now 1, 2, 2, 4. And I'm actually going to change this really quick. And so what this does is it takes out the first instance of whatever you pass in to the remove function. So you call int list.remove, and then you put in 2, and it'll take out the first 2. And you can see here now it's just 1, 4, 2. And so this is important because if the value that you pass in isn't in the list, it'll throw an error. And then it will only take out the first value. So if you have multiple 2s that you wanted to get rid of, you have to call it multiple times. So then kind of I just wanted to leave you with a thought and a question to think about, which is what would happen if I ran this cell? And what would the print statement be? And so this Jupyter Notebook will be in the Google Drive along with the video. And so I hope this helps, and thank you for watching.